Hey everyone, welcome. It's Carrie from Carrie's Wreath Creations. How is everyone today? I'm going to give people a few seconds to join us. We are going to be working on a ribbon wreath today. We're going to be working on a small Unique in the Creek board, and this wreath is a kit that is available in my shop. So just giving everyone a second to join, make sure that they can see me and I can see them and I can see the comments. In the comments right now, I am going to go ahead and add the link to the listing if you're interested in purchasing the kit. And then I'm also, and I know I'll have to share this again later on, but I'm going to go ahead and include the link to the I'm going to be doing a center that I have actually a pre-recorded tutorial on YouTube. So I'm going to put that link in there as well. Okay, so if you're joining, give me a hello so I can hopefully see the comments. I think I'm good to go here. I haven't seen any comments pop up yet. I see some people joining. So thank you for joining me today. Again, it's Carrie from Carrie's Wreath Creations, and I am going to be putting together a ribbon wreath today. So I'm going to be using all ribbon on a Unique in the Creek board. This is a kit, so if you're interested, you can go to my Etsy shop. There's lots of different ribbon combinations that you can use, that you can choose from, and we're going to be working on a small Unique in the Creek board. So I am doing this tutorial style. Hi Pam, thanks for the comment. I can see comments, so we're good to go. Hello. Thanks for watching. So again, this is going to be tutorial style. So if you're a beginner, you'll get some instruction that's kind of just right from the very beginning. If you're more experienced, just bear with me as I kind of do some explanation as far as the boards and how to load them and things like that, just because we have people that are new and haven't ever done this before. So first, let's talk about what is in the kit. So you do receive your small Unique in the Creek board, okay? You receive, let me grab some because I didn't get any out, enough zip ties for your project, okay? And then you receive whatever ribbon combination that you have chosen. So you're going to get 3 types of ribbon in your kit. So when you get to the listing, if you're looking to purchase this on Etsy, what you want to do is scroll through all the photos, because it explains in the photos exactly what your options are and what they're numbered. So you choose the number that you want from the drop-down box in the beginning of on the front page of the listing. So just to kind of go through what your options are, because maybe some people want to see this actually on camera and not just in the picture, as far as your color combinations. So you have, as far as 2.5-inch ribbon, there's the bees, there's this pink and turquoise and a little bit of yellow and lime green plaid. There's this yellow with kind of a white sort of piping going through it. There's this turquoise with bright florals. And then there is this multicolored plaid. Okay, all of the ribbon is from Sam's Club, by the way. Okay, I do, sometimes it's not always the best quality, but what I do like about Sam's Club is they have the little ribbon swatches right next to the ribbon display. So you can kind of, without having to unwrap the ribbon, you can kind of feel them and see like how stiff is the wire, how thick is it. So I chose what I felt were the best ones. As far as the 1.5-inch ribbon, that are your choices. And again, these are all predetermined combinations. You'll want to check the listing and look at the pictures. So there's this pale pink, a darker kind of fuchsia pink, there's turquoise, there's this green with kind of a off-white lines going through it, there's this yellow and white check, the butterflies. This is a kind of 2 different shades of turquoise with yellow. It's kind of like an off-white with a little bit of white. If you can see, there's like also white lines in there, and then plain yellow. So what we're going to be doing today, and I had everyone on my Facebook page kind of vote on their favorite combination. So we're going to be working with this kind of, it kind of reminds me of like a tropical floral. We're going to be using the light pink, and we're going to be using the darker pink. So that's what we're going to work on today. So in the kit, you're going to receive, basically, when you make your petals, which are going to look like this, okay, you're going to get 40 pieces. Sorry. We're going to do 40 total petals. You're going to get 40 pieces, enough ribbon to make 40 10-inch pieces of your sort of main ribbon for your petal. So I'm not cutting these for you, but you'll get enough ribbon to make 40 10-inch cuts of your main ribbon petal, okay? Then I only used half the amount of this pale pink, so you'll get enough to make your 40 of, and this is gonna be just a slightly longer, it's like, this is like 5.5 inches. So basically you can cut it at 11 and then cut it in half, whatever your choice is. But you're gonna wanna cut this into 5.5-inch pieces. So you need 40 of those. So 40 10-inch pieces, 40 5.5-inch pieces. You'll get enough ribbon to cut all that, okay? And then you're going to get what you're going to use for your center. So the center for this particular combo is going to be this, and you're going to get enough to make 15 6-inch pieces. Okay, so you get enough ribbon to make 15 cuts at 6 inches. Okay, and then you're going to get this little piece of plastic canvas to make your center. Okay, so that's what comes in the kit. What does not come in the kit that you will need? You are going to need something to clip your zip ties with. You are going to need scissors to cut your ribbon. Okay, the ribbon is going to be flat packed. It's not going to be cut into pieces for you, so you do need some sort of measuring device like a ruler, and you need scissors. I recommend hot glue as well, just for one piece, and I'll tell you what that is when we get to the center. Hot glue. You'll also get a pipe cleaner, by the way, to attach your center. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Okay, so if you're a beginner, let's just talk about, I have the wreath kind of already started, so we're not gonna have to go through the entire process. We'll speed up a little bit here. But if you're unfamiliar with the boards and how to load them, for this particular wreath, this is a Unique in the Creek board, and when you look at the front of the board, it is labeled 1, 2, 3, 4 as far as your rows. You are going to use every pair of holes on the board, plus you're going to use shared holes on row 4, okay? So that is a total of 40 petals, which is why I said you need to cut 40 pieces of the ribbon, okay? So to load your board, all you have to do is take your zip tie, you have the flat end and then the squared off, the square end, I guess you would say, and you just wanna go down one hole and up the other, and then you just latch them until you hear it zip a few times, and then you know it's in there. Okay, that's called preloading the board. Okay, so you're gonna do that on every set of holes in row 1. That's a total of 16. And then just so you're aware, at number 1, right where the 1 is, there is these extra, they're slightly larger. That's where you put your hanger. Okay, you can use a zip tie for a hanger if you have like a piece of twine, or sometimes I use fish line. You can, whatever you want to use, but those are your hanging holes so that you can hang this from something, okay? In between those two is where that's your set of holes, okay? So I'm not going to do this for every single one because I have a wreath already started. But you're going to load every single pair of holes in row 1, every set of holes in row 2, okay? You do not want to do this single hole, okay? On row 2, just leave it. You don't need that one. I know I missed a comment. Comes with the kit. The board, yes, the board comes with the kit. It's from Unique in the Creek. I do have an affiliate link posted in the pinned post on my Facebook page. If you're watching later on YouTube, you can check the description box below, but there is an affiliate link where you can purchase the boards, okay? It's from Unique in the Creek, okay? Row 3, you'll load up every set of holes. So row 1 was 16, row 2 is 8, row 3 is 8. Row 4, just so you're aware of what you want to do there, you do want to load every set of holes. So just the way we did the other ones, okay? And the only difference here is you are going to share holes. So what does that mean? You have your pair of holes, there's 4 pairs. You want to also put a zip tie between each pair of holes. Okay. So show you what that looks like. So basically every hole is going to have 2 zip ties coming out of it, just like that. Okay. So you would do that all the way around. So you would end up with 8 petals on row 4. So 16 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, that gives you your 40. Okay, so 40 pieces of ribbon, 40 petals, 40 zip ties, that's what we're putting on here. Okay, so speeding up a little bit, I'll show you what a finished product looks like, and then we'll talk about how we're going to put this all together. So I did do this one here. This is with the butterflies, the yellow, and the turquoise. Okay, so this one's already done. So this is what we're going to make. Okay. We are working on this one with our pink. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the petals. And I've already done, just because it's 40 petals, it gets pretty repetitive. I've already pre-made a bunch of petals, and I've also already loaded the board, and I've also already done rows 1 and 2. So row 1, I have 16 petals. Row 2, I have 8 petals. Those are all already done. Okay, so one thing I did want to mention before we get started, and actually kind of referring back to this wreath that's already done with the butterflies, depending what kit you buy, you are going to want to pay attention to if you have any directional ribbon. Okay, directional ribbon is ribbon that only looks right in one direction. Okay, it's a small board. So the butterflies are all going in one direction. So when I made my petals, I have it so they are all going in one direction as I put them in. So basically when I made the petal, I always put the butterfly going down towards the end of the end of the petal. Okay, the only other ribbon, if you purchase the kit, that you want to be concerned about directional ribbon would be the bees. Okay, I mean, unless you want your bees to be this direction, I don't feel like that looks quite right. I feel like this is the direction the bees should be going. So when you, put your petal together, just pay attention to that, because what I would do is I would make my petals, and my bees would all be going in this direction in the petal. Okay, so it's just for consistency purposes. You want to keep track of that. It's the same thing with the butterflies. I mean, those would definitely be upside down because, got the little antenna. You would definitely be able to tell, like, when they're upside down. Now, obviously, in your wreath, you're going around. Now, obviously, like this one up here is upside down. Okay, but they're all going in the same direction is what I'm saying. They're all going outward for consistency. Okay, a personal choice, but that's something that drives me nuts about directional ribbon. All the rest of the ribbon, I think it could go in any direction. It really doesn't matter. Obviously, there's a front and a back you want to pay attention to as well. The pretty side and the not pretty side. Okay? All right, so let's get to the petals. So let's talk about how we're going to make them. Get myself some room here. I actually don't really need all these zip ties, but okay. So I have my 10-inch piece of 2.5-inch ribbon. This is when you look in the listing, this is the what I'm calling the main petal. Okay, this is the one that has like the 2 ends to it. Okay, now you're going to want to make the choice. Do you want to dovetail or do you want to ducktail? So I've chosen to dovetail, which is to make the V. Now to make the V, all you need to do is fold your ribbon in half, take here's the folded side, and cut towards the tip, and you get your V. Okay. There is a lot of cutting when you're doing this wreath. You need to cut all your strips of ribbon, and you need to decide if you're going to dovetail or you're going to ducktail. Okay, now what's a ducktail? I'll show you what that is. I'm not going to do them on this, but I'll show you what a ducktail is. So a ducktail would be if you take your ribbon and you still fold it in half. Instead of cutting from the folded side to the corner, just going to flip it around from the sides that are together towards the folded corner, just the other direction, and you get a little V like that. That's a ducktail. Whatever your choice is fine. Since this is kind of like a flower design, the point doesn't really bother me. Usually I dovetail, but I kind of like the ducktail maybe for just a little something different on this particular wreath. Okay, so I've actually already dovetailed all of my secondary petal accent is what it's called in the kit. Okay, so again, this is 10 inch, this is 5.5 inch. Okay, so what I'm going to do, starting with this piece, I'm going to go ahead and fold my ribbon in half, and it's all wired ribbon. Okay, so now I have where I have my center, that's where I'm going to gather it, just like this. Make a little bow tie. Okay, and then I'm just going to be bringing my two ends together. And as I do that, I do want to kind of flip my ribbon a little bit. Like if I want it to be just, you got to kind of fold it under a little bit. So you get that, you don't have this, like, I don't want it to go like this. I want it to go under like this. Okay. And since it's wired, you can do whatever you want. So now I'm just pinching. Okay. I do not have to overlap these or anything. I just want these two ends to be kind of even. And then what I'm going to do with taking my 5.5 inch piece, I'm just going to kind of wrap the end of this around where I have this pinched, just like that. Okay. So all I did was kind of grab it right here. If you can see that. Okay. Now this is what's going to go into the zip tie. Now, as you can maybe see from my board, I don't have a whole lot in the zip ties. It's just, it's a maybe like a fingernail worth. It's not a whole lot, okay? Because you don't really want to waste your ribbon by putting a huge chunk of it under your zip tie. What you want to make sure though is that your zip ties are nice and tight so that when you tug on this ribbon to make your nice petal, you're not going to accidentally yank it out of the zip tie. Okay, so just like that. Do that again. So again, what I would do is prep all my petals at once. So I would go ahead and do all my cutting and my dovetailing or ducktailing, whatever your choice is. I would do all that first. Okay, so take your main ribbon that you're using, your main petal, okay? That's the petal that's gonna have the two sides. Fold it in half so you can find the middle. Just do a simple little scrunch. Bring your two ends together. Make sure you're have your ribbon going folded downward there so it's not flipping up. Okay. Yes, it's a very thin wreath, so it will fit very nicely between a door and a storm door for sure. Okay, take your 5.5 inch piece and you're just sort of wrapping it over the little nub that you've gathered, just like that. Okay. And it should hang, this piece should hang between the other two ends. Yeah, this is, the finished size of this wreath is about 20 inches. So it's small, it's petite, but it'll look good. I mean, I put it on my front door and I thought it's not like it looked tiny. It looked pretty normal to me. But if you are someone that maybe you live in an apartment or you just have an interior door that needs to be dressed up a little bit, this would be good for, maybe someone that lives in assisted living or something like that as a gift, because the doors are not your standard 3-foot front doors. But yes, it's a very thin design, so it will definitely fit between two doors if you have a storm door. So again, taking my 10-inch piece of ribbon, folding it in half, do a quick little pinch, bring your two ends together. Just recommend straightening that out before you put it into your zip tie. And take your 5.5 inch piece, sort of just grab that with your little nub that you're holding on to, just like this. Okay, and right into the zip tie. I know I'm a little far off here, but once I start loading the pre-made petals, you'll be able to see where I'm putting them in the board a little bit easier. So make sure that's nice and tight. Let's go on and put in some pre-loaded pre-made petals here. Yeah, oops, all the ribbon is from Sam's. I don't know how many of you all are, crafters and you're wreath makers, what your style of wreaths is that you make. So I started just doing deco mesh ribbon wreaths, and then I slowly got into the flowers, and now I've slowly gotten away from doing the deco mesh ribbon wreaths. But one of the things that I can't get away from is ribbon. I don't know. Who else here? Give me a like or a heart or something if you're ribbon obsessed. If you're a ribbon hoarder, you see it, you like it, you gotta buy it. I'm still like that, even though I don't use quite as much ribbon as I used to, since I'm not making the deco mesh wreaths. But You know, I go to Sam's, and I really only belong to Sam's Club because of the ribbon at spring and Christmas. I don't really shop there any other time of the year. But there's so many nice choices, and it's really, you know, fairly decent quality for the price. And like I said earlier, they have the little swatches right there next to the display. So you can feel it, you can, you know, how, you know, you can see, okay, this is like thin and see-through or too satiny. Okay, this is good because it's stiffer and has a good wire in it. You know, you can kind of test it out before you buy it. So I went a little crazy and I bought a lot, and I thought, well, this would be a good project to do. Make some kits with it, so you don't have to buy the whole 50-yard roll, but you can, you know, get a kit that has exactly what you need and get your ribbon fix. Okay, yes, it's a small board. This is a zip tie gun. It tightens and cuts at the same time. This is available in my Amazon affiliate shop. So if you go to the pinned post on my Facebook page, I have my affiliate link for Unique in the Creek. I have my affiliate link for Amazon. So in Amazon, you'll find tools that I like to use. So this zip tie gun's in there. And so our zip ties, hot glue gun, cutting board, scissors, rotary cutter. I make like, you know, 2 cents every time you buy something by clicking on that link. I don't make a lot. But just so you're aware, I do get a very small commission if you do purchase from using that link or the Unique in the Creek link or any of the other links that are in that pinned post. Or if you're on YouTube, those same links would be in the description box. Okay. I really like the zip tie gun for this because it's I mean, it really tightens those, like much tighter than I could pull with my fingers or even with my pliers. So I know these are not going anywhere. No way. Okay. Zip ties I use are 6-inch. They don't have the pound. I think they're 18 pound, but they don't have that on the bag. And I did compare them to ones that say 18 pound, and they're slightly thinner. So if there's something less than 18 pound, that's what I use. I never have them break, ever. All right, so if you're joining a little late, I have one last petal I have to make, and then we'll just go ahead and load the rest in. Yeah, the ribbon for spring came out at like all different times, it seems like. I know some people that saw it months ago, and so I immediately started stalking the one by me. I have a couple by me. I live in the Charlotte area, so there's 3 that are easily accessible from my house. And so I immediately started stalking them, and it was like, seriously, probably 2 months later, maybe not that long, at least a month to 6 weeks delay until they finally got it, which was 2 weeks ago, I think. We finally got it. So yeah, I don't know. They have like no rhyme or reason. You got some an hour ago. Yeah. I feel like if I went back to mine 2 weeks later, it would probably all be gone. Okay. So again, it's a total of 40 petals. When you get your ribbon in your kit, or you're doing this with whatever ribbon you have, you need 40 10-inch pieces. I will tell you that if you buy a 10-yard roll of ribbon, that's not enough for this project. Okay, because a 10-yard roll of ribbon is 360 inches. You need 400 inches to get 40 10-inch pieces. I used to teach math, okay? So one roll of 10-yard ribbon is not enough for your main petal. It is enough for like your little accent thing though, because we need 40 5.5-inch or 20 11-inch. If it's easier to measure out 11 inches and then cut them in half, I mean, whatever. And the only reason I make this a 1/2 inch longer than this is because I'm wrapping that little nub around, and it just gives it maybe a tiny bit of dimension by having this accent part of your petal be a hair longer than the regular petal. Okay. All right. So that was, by the way, that was row 3. Now we're working on row 4, where we put our pair of, we have our zip ties in every pair of holes as well as all the shared holes. So fold your ribbon in half. If yours still doesn't have it in, don't lose hope, because I was about to lose hope, and then all of a sudden there it was. Okay, so I folded it in half, I pinched up the middle, and then I kind of bring my two ends together. You can always tell that a ribbon is you know, fairly decent quality if you do something with it and it stays. Okay, so the wire in this is pretty thick and the wire in it is good, so it's staying in the shape that I made it. Okay, then take your 5.5 inch piece and just wrap that around your little nub like this. Okay. Once you like the way that looks, put it right into your zip tie. Just like that. Okay. And you could do this on a large board. It would actually be the same 40, you would still do 40 pieces. You just wouldn't use row, I think it's row 1 on the large board that has the single holes. You wouldn't use that row, but you would use all the rest, and you would still double up on the inside row, which I believe is row 5 on that board. You would just get a bit, you know, your wreath would be bigger in diameter. I stick with the small board, at least for the kits, because for shipping purposes, I don't actually have boxes that would be appropriate sized for the large boards to put those in a kit. I didn't really want to reinvent the wheel as far as shipping. And I actually kind of feel like I might actually ship these in poly mailers for the kits. If you're watching and you've bought a kit, I don't know, maybe you'll, however you get it, you're watching later on. Surprise, I don't know. Haven't decided at this point how they're getting shipped. A box seems kind of silly because it's flat packed ribbon and it's a board and it's zip ties. There's really nothing bulky, but I'll have to just check the carrier prices and see. If it's under £1, it'll probably go through USPS in a poly mailer, but I really hate USPS, so as long as it gets to you. That's just me contemplating my business decisions here. Okay. All right. And the last one. So a total of 40 petals. Okay. The floral in this wreath is my main part of my petal. I had 40 10-inch pieces. The pale pink, I had 40 5.5-inch pieces, or 20 11-inch pieces if it's easier to think of it that way. And it's a total of 40. So every set of holes on our small board, rows 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then on row 4 we shared holes. So we have a total of 16 on row 1, and then 8 on rows 2, 3, and 4. It's taking you to Etsy. I'm not sure what's taking you to Etsy. If you're looking to buy the kit, then you're in the right place. If you're looking for affiliate links, you got to go to the my main Facebook page. It's the pinned post. It's the very top post with the little yellow bookmark thing. That would be how you find my Amazon shop and the link to Unique in the Creek. I'm not sure what you're looking for. Not Amazon. Oh, sorry, Norm. I hope I answered your question. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Yeah, the kit's on Etsy. It should be under spring. It should also be probably the very first listing after the featured listings. Okay, so now, since this is wired ribbon, I mean, what I kind of like to do, and I'll do this later, but I sort of like to take my little accent piece, which in this case is the pale pink, and just fluff it a little so we don't have too much of a flat look. It gives our wreath a little bit of dimension, but I'll go through and do that later. Okay, but here's what we have so far. Okay, so I think this is really like super summery with I really feel like these flowers look kind of tropical. Okay, I know I missed some comments. Yes, I have used wire wreath frames. I still do use them on my deco mesh wreaths, I will admit. I still have a couple of flowers that I sell over and over again that are made on the wireframes. I have not yet transitioned to the Unique and the Creek boards, but yes, I do. There are a couple tutorials, live Facebook videos, as well as things on my YouTube where I do a wire wreath frame. This, once again, is a zip tie. It's a zip tie gun. It clips and tightens all at the same time. It can be found on Amazon. And as far as ribbon that would not work for this, I would not use unwired ribbon. Unwired ribbon would just have, it would be flat and limp, and I wouldn't do it. If you're an experienced wreather, if there's any type of ribbon that you don't like to make a bow with, I would not use that for this either. I mean, I feel like a lot of times people don't like the satiny kind of ribbon. I think it would be okay with this, but I haven't tried it. Some of this has kind of, it's not really satin, but this has like a softer kind of feel as opposed to the canvas feel, but it still holds its shape really well. So that doesn't bother me so much. Satin ribbon, I know a lot of people don't like to work with that when they do bows, but maybe for this it wouldn't matter too much. I wouldn't use anything super cheap because it will fray. Okay, the more you handle this ribbon, it will start to fray a little at the ends. You might have the wire start to poke out. So try not to overhandle your wreath, okay? All right, so let's talk about the center. So we are going to use, I have the center done. I'm gonna do a quick explanation of how to make it, but then you're gonna wanna go on YouTube and watch the full tutorial, okay? So it's a little ribbon rosette. So technically the entire wreath is made out of ribbon, which is kind of what I was going for. So in your kit, you're gonna receive this little it's about a 3-inch piece of plastic canvas mesh. If you're buying this on your own, you wanna go to the embroidery section of the craft store where they have the embroidery thread. It comes in big sheets. This is actually just scraps from other projects. But 3 inches is what's gonna fit nicely in the center here. I measured, okay? Now for the ribbon that you're using for your center, you'll have enough to make 6-inch pieces. You can make 15 of them with what I'm giving you. I've only used 14 in all of the centers I've tried out so far. So you might end up with one extra, okay? But you'll wanna cut this into 6-inch pieces, whatever ribbon has been in your kit for the center. Now you're gonna have a bunch of extra zip ties for this. I do realize these zip ties are too long for this part of it, but I'm not gonna, again, reinvent the wheel and give you some different material to work with. These work fine, okay? So let's talk about where we are going to, how we're gonna get this started. I'm actually I have a couple like in the works here, so let's move over to this one. I have 2 pieces already attached. Okay, so what I did, and I'm kind of going in a pattern here. If you look at the back where I've put my zip ties in, there's one here and there's one here. So it's about 2 squares down from the edge and sort of centered on that arc of the circle is where I put this one. Same idea here. I went 2 squares down, put my zip tie. Now you'll notice the little nub of the zip tie is in the back, okay? And you're also, when you put your zip tie in, you're gonna wanna go the holes directly next to each other. This is not very much material to grab onto, so you don't wanna space your zip tie out too much. Okay, so what I would be doing next, because I do everything in a pattern. I used to teach math, so that's why I do things in a pattern. I'm gonna go directly across from this one, and that's where my next zip tie is gonna go. So again, I'm gonna go sort of 2 squares down, and right in the center of this side of the circle, take my zip tie. I'm going up from the bottom, okay, and then down through the very next square next to it, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and latch it. Whoops. When you watch the YouTube, I feel like I was sewing during it because I'm like, it's like threading a needle kind of, okay? So that's where my zip tie is, if you can see that, okay? And then I take my 6-inch piece of ribbon, okay? I'm just gonna fold it. I'm folding it in half, but don't press this down because you want it to be loopy. You know, you want the loops to stand up, so don't hammer that down. Just keep it nice and loose. Just put your ends together and then just gather just a little bit, just like that, okay? Enough that you're gonna be able to get it into the zip tie and it'll hold. So then put it into your zip tie. I kind of use my thumb to hold it in place while I go like this from the back and tighten it just like that. Now I think like probably floral wire would work. There's other materials that would definitely work because look at all this extra zip tie. Okay, I don't need all that, but I didn't want to mess around with giving you some 6-inch zip ties, some 4-inch zip ties, and all that stuff. I didn't want to deal with that. So you're just getting more 6-inch zip ties. Okay, so that's what I just added. And then the next thing I would do, go across from this one. Again, go up from the, I'm keeping my nubby of my zip tie on the back. Okay, I just think it makes it look cleaner when you're done. Okay, so actually let me go over one more. So go up one square, down the other. Okay, I kind of went 2 squares from the edge of my circle, just like that. Okay, and take your 6-inch piece of ribbon. When you have the ribbon that's the same, just one solid color, it is a little hard to tell the front from the back. There is a front and a back, but you can really only tell kind of from the stitching. So, some of mine might be going the wrong way, but that's okay. And again, you got your little nub, you just gathered that. I'm just holding that little nub down with my thumb as I pull and tighten on the back and snip that off. Okay, so I'm not going to go through and do the rest. You'll want to hop over to YouTube if you're following the tutorial to make this kit to complete this. But basically, I'll give you a verbal explanation, super quick here, of what you would do next. You would then put another loop in between each one of these. So basically, your outer row of little loops is going to be 8. So we have 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Then the next row that you will do, you're just going to want to, I don't have another spare piece of ribbon here, but what you're going to want to do is start where that, the fabric of the ribbon ends is where you're going to go in with your next zip tie to start your next layer. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but oops, I'm off camera. Okay, this is where that's going to go. Okay, and then what I did, and I'll hop over and show you this one that's done. So here's my 8 on the outside. I did 5 on this kind of second row here. And all I did was I put one in, and then the next loop I just made sure was touching the one next to it. So I didn't have any spaces in between, and I ended up with 5. The kits are available on my Etsy shop. So if you go to my Facebook page and click shop now, it'll be there, but I'll make sure I post the link when I get off here. There actually is a link posted. It's just right at the very beginning of the comments. Okay, so 8, 5, and then for the last one, this is why I mentioned you might want hot glue. Let me see. I feel like I have a spare piece somewhere. So what I did for this is this center loop right here. What I did for that is I took my piece here and I glued it, right? I put glue in here and I glued a loop. And then what I did was, once it was dry, I gathered that loop and then plopped it right in the center. Okay. I just prefer to glue that one because I feel like I don't want to gather and put in where I might have another end showing that I need to hide. I don't want to have to hide another end. So that's why I did the loop in the center, because there's no end showing. The little nubby there isn't one. Like, you don't want to try to have to figure out where am I going to hide more of this. So that's why I do this and then put it in like that. Okay, so YouTube has a full tutorial on how to do this. Okay, it's a total of 14 pieces on this one that I did. However, you have enough to get 15 pieces if you wanted to squeeze another one in somewhere. Totally could. Okay, so let's finish our wreath. So take this and you're going to just pick some opposite holes here on row 4. They're still fairly visible, so easy to see. One of the other things I did forget to mention, since I'm attaching this with a pipe cleaner, you'll just, it's explained in the tutorial, but what you'll want to do is you just put run your pipe cleaner through the canvas mesh. It's pretty easy. Okay. So I just went in and did opposite holes there. I'll fix that up in the back in a second. And then what you can do, because as you work, don't try to fluff your little rosette until the end, because you're going to handle it. The loops are going to get flattened. Just get it in the wreath, and then you can use your fingers. You could take like a pencil or something to fluff these out if your fingers don't want to get in there, but that's what you're going to do to sort of fluff that out. And then the last thing you would do would be to add whatever your hanger is going to be. If you want to use a zip tie, you want to use twine, but you'll want to go in the back here to your hanging holes, okay, and add whatever you're going to use to hang with. I always provide a few extra zip ties, so you can always do that. So here's my wreath. Yeah, if you're confused with the center, it's because I'm not doing the whole thing. It's like a 30-minute process. I didn't want to prolong this Facebook Live by doing an entire center, so you will want to go watch that on YouTube. It's 6-inch loops of ribbon that you're attaching to plastic canvas. It's pretty simple. You could really put them on in any sort of order that you want. I'm a math person, and so that's why I do everything in a pattern. Okay, so that's our wreath for today. I'm a little off camera, okay? But if you're interested in the kits, you'll want to check out my Etsy shop. I'll go ahead and put a link. I'll put a picture of this with a link to that. You get lots of different ribbon combinations to choose from. This will be available, this live will be available on YouTube, so you can go and watch this again. And then when you get your kit, you'll also get a link to the, that'll take you directly to the center, the video for the center, okay? I do not cover the back. Why would I cover the back? I would, obviously, what I'm gonna do is I'll make sure that this is nice and tight, and I can just thread these back through. You can put a piece of tape over it if you wanted to, but I can cut them shorter, obviously. But there's nothing, there's nothing to cover. There's nothing gonna scratch your customer's door, okay? All right, that's all. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a great rest of your evening. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions, if you're having issues with ordering. I tried to make it as easy as I could, but you're going to want to scroll through the pictures to see your ribbon options, and then choose from the drop-down box. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to check out that description box below for all the links that I mentioned, and if you're on Facebook, check out the pinned post. Thanks everyone. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye.